Macbeth was written after the death of Elizabeth I, which appears to be the factor that shaped the character of Lady Macbeth. If nothing else, it demonstrates the danger of the ruling power residing in the hands of a woman. Lady Macbeth is an independent and dominating personality, exactly the dominating personality that the Elizabethan men feared the most, if defying the social standards of her day, but acting in the reverse. Where in Act 1, Scene 5, she is quick to invoke the powers of evil. Come, ye spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Invoking the spirits of darkness, Lady Macbeth immediately aligns herself with the witches and the forces they serve. Her tone of voice is one of command, so these words define her character as an invoker of death that shall lead to others' deaths of the play. Her mind is set on the murder of the king, and independently the ambition of a husband. She is determined to abandon any feminine softness of her character that defines her gender to ensure that Macbeth succeeds to the greatness he has been promised. She must then ensure that Macbeth must also abandon any softness that will feminize his character. Lady Macbeth must take on the characteristics of the late Virgin Queen if she is to have any success in her political aspirations. Sadly for her, she is unable to suppress that feminine part of her nature completely. When it returns with a vengeful attack on her sanity. In the meantime, she questions her husband's manhood, which becomes Lady Macbeth's key weapon against her husband's reserve to commit an act of supreme violence which is to be commended on multiple levels. When you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more than a man. Lady Macbeth knows the weak point of men, their manly pride, and plays it to suit her own purpose. However, abandoning her own female nature is not as easily done as encouraging her husband to abandon any feminine softness in his. In Act 2, Scene 2, she cannot herself carry out the murder of Duncan. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. Yet Lady Macbeth's power over her husband is unquestionably strong, and so is her determination that they should succeed in their joint ambitions. In doing so, she imposes the concept of womanhood, that contradicts the notion that women may be powerless in society. Rather, they are secret manipulators, depending on a craft to succeed in their ambitions rather than having to do it themselves. It is only that the skill that drives her act against her own feminine nature, that is to have such dire consequences. She is his master manipulator, who is by questioning his manhood, which is her triumph card, and carries the game by her manipulation of his will. It is only when that skill that drives her to act against her own feminine nature that it has such dire consequences. What will these hands never be clean? Or the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten these little hands? Faced with the dreadful consequences of her actions, she is abandoned to her own fears by a husband who has no time. The blood that she feels that she may never wash out becomes a permanent stain on her conscience, which she carries to the grave.